Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Dream Life Loading podcast. I'm Skye.
And I'm Susan. How are you today, Skye?
I'm good, Susan. It was such an incredible week last week. I know we talked about it on last week's episode, but just the support from the launch of our 100-day challenge could not, literally, we could not have dreamed of it being that good. So I feel like we're riding such a high from that, and going into this week with the challenge actually starting, it's just we're in such a high right now, and I feel like we're in such a positive, successful environment, and I could not be more grateful or happier about it. How are you feeling?
I'm good. It's cold and rainy here. I don't know about you guys around the world, but it has been like 50 degrees and raining where we live for the last 2.5 weeks at least. And I could use the sunshine and some heat. Like I'm cold and bitter about it. So that was why today's episode actually was like the perfect pick me up because I was not having the best morning. And I was like, you know what? Like, we're going to talk about something really fun. And this gives me something to look forward to. So honestly, prepping for this video changed my day, and I'm so grateful for that. So let's get into it.
So, today we are really diving into the whole theme of our summer, which is our Change Your Life in 100 Days Dream Life Summer Challenge. And we figured, I guess we can give a spoiler because this will go up on the first day of the challenge. So, if you're not already signed up, the first day of our challenge is to create a bucket list of what you want your dream summer to be. So, if you haven't already signed up, there's day one. Go sign up so that you can join us for the other 99 days. But we wanted to do an entire episode of what our summer bucket lists look like, just to kind of, I don't know, get us in the spirit, get us in the mindset, and just get really excited not only for summer, but specifically for our summer challenge.
Yes. Okay, so I just dive right in. What's the first thing you had on your list?
This is kind of lame, but the first thing I had on my list was to journal every day. And we've been talking a lot about journaling, and I've been so out of the habit of journaling. I feel like I was so good in like November, December, January, and then I really dropped off. And I realized it had been over 2 weeks since I had journaled. So it's something that like I sat down and I did 2 full pages, and it was like I had so much clarity. And it's so amazing. Like, people that don't journal, I think, probably look at us and they're like, journaling doesn't change your life. Like, this isn't like, but it really, really does. And it sounds so
Yeah.
silly, but just allowing yourself the unbiased space to write whatever and everything that is on your mind is life changing. So I want to set a goal for myself to journal every single day. And I think it'll be a really good way to look back on this amazing summer and like be able to like be appreciative of every day and like take at least one thing out of each day. So kind of like I'm already setting in my head like what I want to journal about, because sometimes I know it's like intimidating if you're like, well, I don't know what to write about. So I'm kind of doing that. Now I have at least one thing to write about every single day for the next 100 days, and I will be journaling every single day. What's the first thing on your list?
I love that. Actually, kind of similar. Mine is to write short stories. I used to have such a vivid imagination, and I think with age and stress, it just kind of like fizzled out and died. And that's so unfortunate. So, I want to work on my imagination skills and my writing skills, and I want to write short stories. So, that is my goal. I don't have a set amount, but I want to just start writing, whether they're good, bad, or ugly, and just get it out onto the page.
I love that. I know we've both been talking about like having aspirations to write books in the future, and I think like
Mhm.
in my way, like journaling this summer is gonna hopefully be like the draft of a 1 day book about like this journey I'm able to be on. And I think your short stories will kind of be the basis of that too. So just really taking the summertime where we have like, I don't know, for some reason I feel like everyone has more energy and a little bit more life to them in the summer. So kind of taking advantage of that extra energy and just tackling all the projects that we always say like I want to do this and never doing. So I love that. I'm so excited to read your stories.
Yes. The next one, kind of going off of that, like having projects going on, I want to paint my kitchen. I started ripping the wallpaper down yesterday, and it's just going to give a whole new feel to not just the house, but like that room. The where our kitchen is located, it kind of feeds into every single room in the house that you can see when you first walk through the door. So I think just getting the wallpaper down, putting a fresh coat of paint, it's going to make a world of difference. And I'm very excited to make it feel like our own.
Absolutely. I think the way you've transformed your living room already is night and day. So I cannot wait to
Yeah.
see the way you do that with your kitchen. And I guess one thing on mine was to be able to visit home this summer. So I can't wait to
Yes.
visit your home for the first
Yes.
and be able to make something on my bucket list and yours, and all those things just come true with this summer. So I can't wait to see everything you guys do with the house.
Yeah, I'm really excited. There's so many projects. Like when you get a house, like you get it. There's projects that always need to be done. But it was like one of these things that I was like, I'd rather paint in the summer where we can just open the windows and not have to like smell the fumes for a couple days, like just get it all done at once. So I'm glad I did. And like I said, I started yesterday and it actually has gone smoother than I thought it was going to be. So I'm optimistic that I can have that whole project done by the end of the week,
Oh my
hopefully.
gosh. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't like to have the house like falling apart. Like it needs
No.
to be like done ASAP. But
Especially you just moved in, like the last thing you want is to like not feel at home in your home because there's paint
yeah,
and yeah, no,
yeah.
not the
So we're gonna bust that out.
I love that. I'm so excited for you guys.
Kind of another home related one is campfires because we do like the house came with a fire pit, which is great. Chris wants to redo it and really make it like fancy, and I'm excited for that. But what we have right now is perfect. Like it's in ground. We don't have to worry about things catching on fire. It's sweet. And I want to just like spend time outside, whether it's just Chris and I or we have friends just stop by. Like I want to enjoy what we have.
I love that. I saw a video of your campfire. Is that what you would call it? Campfire.
Yeah.
Um or your fire pit a week or two ago, and I was like, "Oh, that looks so lovely." And my parents put in a fire pit when they redid the not balcony, the patio last summer. And
Yes.
it's just such an amazing space, and I'm always amazed by how much time we spend outside when there's a reason to be outside. And even like
Mhm.
late into September and October, we would still go outside because you have the warm fire, and it's just such a lovely place. It's just a reason to like sit around and talk and, like you said, be outside. So I can't wait to see like and hear about all the times you guys spend outside this summer with that. But and it's in your brand new home, which is your first summer in your home, which is so freaking
Yeah.
cool.
I when we were going through the house buying process, it was stressful. And I kept reminding myself, like, it's okay. We're gonna move in the first week of May, and then you can just every day after work, you can go out and suntan. And we've had 2 days where it was warm enough to do that since we moved in. I'm literally like, I don't know if you can tell, this is a fleece jacket.
Oh,
Like it
Jesus.
is cold here. It's not the vibe.
Well, something on my list, which is this is really going to sting because it's been hot here and we don't have AC, so it's been like I'm relearning how to manage like okay, like
Mhm.
if it's too hot to do this in the afternoon, like so it's been a little bit of an adjustment, no complaints, but just like really trying to figure out like if I want to
Yeah.
do it, I cannot do it at 4 p.m. It'll be like the dead of the heat. So what kind of like two things together is I want to wake up earlier this summer because the sun shines so much earlier, so it's so much easier to get up versus like in the winter I cannot get up early. Like I give you so much credit for being able to do it, but if it's pitch black dark, I cannot get out of bed. So I'm really going to take advantage of getting up earlier this summer and be able to get outside and get movement in before it gets too hot. And then the way I'm so grateful we have this patio, especially for this summer, but the space we get the sun on the patio in the morning, and then once it hits 1 or 2 in the afternoon it's on the other side of the house. So if I'm up early enough I would love to get some sunshine in the morning after a walk or something before it goes to the other side. So really trying to like manage the heat and manage where the sun is at the right times and plan my day around that because I'm happy that I'm able to do that.
Yeah. I know that you spend a lot of time doing this outside, which is one of my points was to read books. I want to read 3 books, which is like probably the lowest amount of books I've ever set out for a goal before. But we're just so busy. Realistically, I will be lucky if I get through 3 books this summer, but I'm here for it and I'm very excited to read.
Yeah, that was on mine too. I put 10, which I think is probably shooting a little bit too high, but I don't know. I've been reading like 2 books a week, so I think I could probably do it, especially if I get into this like early morning sunshine reading routine that I would love
Yeah.
to get into. But yeah, reading outside is I know we keep talking about it, but it is one of my favorite things to do, especially in the summer, because you get tan and you're reading. It's like killing so many birds with one stone. It's so lovely.
I love it. One that was very like off of my usual was to go water skiing.
Ooh.
I don't know if you might know this. I almost drowned water skiing the first time I went. Did you hear this?
No.
Okay. Short story, I'll make it fast. I was 10 or 11. My grandparents had just bought their lake house, and they're like, they bought all the stuff so that we could do all the activities on the boat, and they were very excited about it. So we, I was little, so they bought little skis for like kids, and they had a bar that connected your toes so that you weren't doing like splits, like it would keep you kind of straight. And they're like, put the rope under the bar so it'll pop you up when the boat goes, which like made sense, worked great. Except when I let go, the like what you hold on to is a triangle and it wrapped around the bar on my toes. So I fell down and then they gunned it to turn around and come get me. And I was still connected to the boat by my feet. So they were dragging me by my feet. And I was like underwater at this point. Like I was trying to, I remember trying to scream for help and it just being water. Like I couldn't. And it did not last very long. My mom, you always have a watcher when you're doing stuff like that. My mom was like, stop the boat. Like she dove in and got me. But absolutely traumatized. All my cousins my age were on the boat. I was the first one to go, and they're like, "We're not going." I don't think those water skis got used for 10 years after. Um, so I want to conquer my fear. I have been once or twice more since that happened, but it was honestly 10 years later. And it was with my now husband's family, and I went with them. And that was before I hurt my ankle in 2020. So it's been a long time, but I'm ready to circle back and try it and not be scared because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh, oh my God.
PTSD.
Yeah. And again, very understandably so. My grandparents have always had a lake house on Lake Winnipesaukee. So I'm really hoping if and when I do go home this, not if, I'm going to say when I go home this summer, I would love to spend some time with them at the lake house, but also they have like, have you ever done the wake surf? That one's really fun. Um,
Yes,
I
they
really
have
like that.
my brother-in-law and father-in-law wakeboard.
Yep.
And I was like, "Will you guys teach me?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll teach you how to do it." But I have yet to do that one.
I actually prefer wakeboarding to water skiing. I don't know why, but
Yeah,
wake
they
surf
do
is
too.
fun too. And obviously, tubing is such a blast. So it's all so much fun.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
this actually kind of relates to our summer challenge. Is I think in the past couple years, when I've gone to see them and they're like, oh, does anyone want to water ski or something? It's like, oh, no, I'm fine. Like, I'm over it, whatever. And I think the whole point, not the whole point, but a huge point of our challenge this summer is to really like heal your inner child and embrace your
Mhm.
inner child. And that was something that I loved to do as a kid. But since then, I've been like, oh, I'd rather just sit here on the boat and not be fun. So I'm going to really try this summer to like do the fun things. So I love that you brought that up. I'm going to add that to my list.
With this challenge, it has really brought to light to me, like, really the point we did it. I don't know whether or not we were conscious of it at the time of creating it, but having fun is not juvenile. I think I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be seen as mature and I've always wanted to be a grown up and I love being a grown up. I really do. But you don't have to lose the fun. Like you can still have fun as an adult and still be very responsible and like have your shit together. And I think that this challenge really pushes people to get out of their comfort zone and to just understand like life is supposed to be fun
Mhm.
and you're not a kid, you're not immature if you're having fun. Like if you're having fun, you're having fun. And I feel like the people who are the most miserable hate people who are having fun.
Mhm.
So, food for thought.
Yep, I completely agree. And I think you don't, it's not irresponsible to have fun. Because even like you said,
No.
like you like being an adult, you like having responsibility, but then there's so many people that are like, oh, I can't do that. Like I have to be responsible. I have to be an adult. And it's like, well, we're not telling you to go like skydiving or something that like could be seen as irresponsible given what you might have in your life, whatever. But it's just like get outside, like be fun, like just let go, like
Yep.
put your phone on the counter, like just let go of the expectations of what being an adult means and redefine that for you. I really think is like our challenge is like redefine
Yeah.
what's going to work for you. You want to be sustainable, you want to be happy in your life. And if you're just doing what you think you should be doing and it's not making you happy, like redefine that. And I think we kind of structured the challenge so that there are a lot of days to reflect and redefine in journaling prompts and thinking and thought provoking questions and whatever. But then there's also the time where it's like, okay, go do it, get out
Yep.
there and like, don't let your bucket list just sit there. Like, start crossing things off. Do the fun things you want to do. Make the time for what matters.
Yeah. Going off of just like the fun thing, I actually pulled two things from what I used to spend all summer doing. I was so fortunate that my parents would hire a babysitter for the summer, and it was usually for a while it was one of my older cousins, and then it was just an older sister of one of my friends. And they just made it so much fun. Like pretty much I could do whatever I wanted and they would like do it with me. So we were in walking distance to the dam. So like we would go swimming. But I want to build a fort of any capacity. I actually had a fort that my dad and I built out. It was like in the woods and it had like a little river and we built a bridge and like it was so much fun. So this doesn't have to be necessarily an inside fort. It might be an outside fort because I have land that I can do so now. But I want to do that and baking. We used to bake like every other day. My mom would come home and be like, "You guys didn't even eat the brownies you made yesterday. Like, stop baking until you eat it." So I want to bake a cake because I think the most adult thing you'll ever do is realize that you don't need an occasion to eat cake.
I love that. See, this is the whole vibe. It's like, why not? I feel like that's like the entire vibe for the next 100 days is like, why not? Like, you want to go
Mhm.
build a fort? You don't need a reason, like if it
Nope.
brings you joy, go do it. I love that. I remember I babysat last summer. I like nannied this one family the entire summer. And towards the end of the summer, it was like, I need to do something with these kids. And I don't know where I got the idea, but I was like, I'm going to build them a fort. And it was the most basic, like they were little kids. They were 2 and 4, something like that. So easily entertained. And I had like pillows and it was very simple, but it was adorable. And they could watch their show under their fort. And
Hmm.
they were like, this was the coolest thing ever. The next day, the mom was like, you have to do that again. Like they thought that was so cool. And it's like, why don't we do these things more often? So I love
Hmm.
that. And I think so much of our challenge is based around like, what's going to give a 4-year old joy? And it's like, well, that gave you joy once too. Like, there's no reason we can't do that again. And just like kick it up a notch. Like if you have the ability to do the childish thing, but add on to it, go
Hmm.
ahead. Like you said, like baking a cake instead of like needing a parent's help. Like you can do it yourself on any occasion.
Yeah.
You don't need permission from anyone. I love that.
So the week before we looked at what is now our house, I remember Chris had got his Nintendo Switch and he was so excited. Like the man played. Okay, my husband, we joke that he's a grandpa because he goes to bed very early. Like he sticks to his routine, and the man stayed up till like 3 a.m. that night playing his Switch. And he was like, "I'm addicted to it." And so I surprised him when he came home. I had turned our entire living room into a blanket fort in the apartment. So like it was a smaller space to work with, but it was just so much fun. I think that's when I really took on the like idea of let's just have fun. Like let's stop being so boring and let's like actually have
I love that. You reminded me of my Switch. I'm definitely going to pick that up again this summer because
fun.
they're so fun. I love that. I think there's so much fun, like simple things that we can do this summer. Like, I don't know, just so many like little things. Like even just taking a day to have a movie day and watch like both of the Princess Diaries back to back or both of the King
Hmm.
of the Box. Like I love all those nostalgic Disney movies and so I'm excited for like the first rainy summer day. I cannot wait for because I'm gonna like take advantage and like do all
Have mine.
I know.
Oh, my face just dropped. I could tell. Like I was like, oh, my face is done. Like she
The
checked
second,
out.
the second I said it, I was like, I should not have said that. Because in my head, I'm thinking like mid-July, it's been hot, we get rain. No, not right now. It's not time. It's not time.
Honestly, I would take hot rain. It is cold rain. Like it is just
Terrible.
cold.
Oh,
I have two things left on my list. What
okay.
do you have on yours?
I have kind of a few things that go together. I have a lot of food related, just like taking advantage because I don't really know what like I mean, obviously I know what the fresh produce here is, but I don't know like what's gonna grow and like what can I get my hands on that
Right.
I can't necessarily get like that fresh in the States. So just really taking advantage of fresh ingredients and like making new recipes around that. And then gelato once a week, I think has to be mandatory because how can I be in Italy in the summer and not take full advantage of walking distance to gelato? So that was like my
Yeah.
two food related things.
I love that. I have a set number that I would like to make in passive income or additional income this summer. The number doesn't matter, but it's just a matter of identifying I'm set on this, this is what I want, and this is how we're going to do it. And I remember Chris said something the other day like, "Oh, we can't afford that right now." And I was like, "No, how can we afford that?" And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "What do we need to be able to afford that?" And I think just having those little mind shifts and those check-ins, like instead of seeing something automatically thinking it's out of your reach, like just reevaluate and be like, "No, wait, how?" Not when, not if, but how.
Yep. Nick actually did something really similar. We were walking through town yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever it was, and he saw a shirt and he was like, "Oh man, I can't wait for the day that I can walk into a store and just buy a shirt off the rack, like buy that fancy shirt." Because it was like a really
Mhm.
high-end store. And in my head, I didn't say it to him because like we've talked about that before, and I was like, I'm not gonna get on him right now about it. But I was like, let's change the narrative. Like instead of like I can't wait
Yeah.
for it, like you said, like let's make it happen. So I love that mindset shift.
I love uh I think people aren't aware of how they talk about certain things, like specifically money.
Yeah.
And if you just listen to the people around you, like some people are so negative about money. And it's just crazy to me. I mean, it's wild. Like it doesn't have to be a negative thing. And once you change it in your mind to be a positive thing, it interacts with you differently.
Yep. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. I don't know if I talked about this here, but that I did on Instagram for sure. That abundance ritual, the end of month
Mhm.
abundance ritual, I did that at the end of May. And gotta say, it's already really working in abundance in all the ways. And it's just like realizing that you can have whatever you want. Like if it like literally like if you can dream it, you can be it. Like because if you can imagine having that, then you
Yeah.
probably already have it in like a later date in life. So if you can just accept that you're going to get there, then you're going to be given that and like giving yourself that like the ritual of abundance by saying like I accept everything that's coming to me and like I want this abundance. I invite this abundance into my home and just those little like I don't know, it seems like yeah, you're doing a ritual and whatever, like it's witchy and whatever you want to say about it, but it really does work because it's just changing the way you think about things instead of like, oh, I wish, I
Mhm.
wish, I wish. It's like you can.
Yep. So I have one left on my list.
Perfect.
Let's jump into it. Mine is to take time off and to actually take time off. I usually will take unpaid time and then make up my hours during the week, which actually makes it more miserable because then I'm working longer days or I'm still working on a Sunday for a couple hours. And I'm just going to PTO was there for a reason and I don't need to hoard it. I know we talked about this 2 weeks ago, I think, but I'm just going to enjoy time off. I took 3 days off in 1 week in July and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's gonna suck up like a lot of my PTO." And then I was like, "We're letting it go. We're
Yep.
gonna actually enjoy ourselves. We're gonna go to the beach. We're gonna relax, and we're not gonna do any work." I don't think there's ever been a time in my life where I actually enjoyed summer because during college I was taking summer classes, and during high school I was working and doing sports. And I'm gonna unapologetically relax and enjoy because I think we need to take our rest as seriously as we take our work.
I
And I
love
don't ever do that.
hmm And that's so important because it's going to make your work better. If you
Mhm.
fully allow yourself to rest and recharge, you're going to go into your work feeling actually excited and rejuvenated to work. It makes so much sense. Okay, favorites. My this is a weird one. My physical favorite this week, I think I mentioned this to you a couple weeks ago. This was actually our friend Liz suggested for me to start doing this. She was like, I've been doing it and it's like really like life-changing, whatever. And I had always heard about it, but I had never really taken the time to research and see what it was. So it's oil pulling, which the phrase pulling kind of makes sense, but it's really like oil swishing. And you're supposed to, or I guess traditionally you do it, you take like a spoonful of coconut oil and you put it in your mouth first thing in the morning before you brush your teeth. And that I was like, this isn't gonna work for me because my routine, like the first thing I do when I wake up is brush my teeth. So I realized, and I don't put my makeup on like very first thing in the morning. So it's like, I don't have enough time before I brush my teeth that it would make sense for me to do that because you're supposed to do it for like 15 to 20 minutes. So I've been doing it in the shower and I've really gotten into the habit of it now where it's like I go to shower and I'm like, "Oh, I need my oil." So it's I've totally like trained my brain with the habit stacking. Um which it's been working really well and the benefits are it's really good for like something about bacteria. I know it helps with like breath in the morning and it helps kill off bacteria and then it also really helps naturally whiten your teeth. And I've definitely seen all of those benefits so far and I've been doing it for just about a month and I don't see any downside. You know, that's why I'm like if this is going to possibly help me, I'll try it and I've been enjoying it. And it's also like I don't know, it's a little bit meditative because you're just like complete, you can't, you can't talk, you can't do anything. So yeah, oil pulling, I suggest trying it if you're willing to try, I know it's a little weird to think about like putting oil in your mouth like that, and then obviously you spit it out, you don't swallow it. Liz said she actually puts a drop of peppermint oil mixed with her coconut oil for like the minty fresh in the morning. But I love coconut, so the taste like really, I kind of enjoy it. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been like a new little self care thing to do.
I do want to try it because she had told me about it a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I should do that. And then got busy and totally forgot about it. So thank you for the reminder. Very excited about that. My physical favorite is my new office, which I'm not in, but you guys will see it next week. Anyways, I'm shuffling around and I'm going into the room in front of the room that I'm in now. And I'm very excited for it. There's more light, and I think I need that. I think I've kind of felt like a cellar dweller a little bit lately. And it's because I just have this one window and it's just not enough light for me. So I'm excited for that change. I did an accent wall, which you guys are going to see. It came out very good. And if I thought taking wallpaper down was frustrating, putting it up is 10 times worse.
No, really?
Yes. Yeah, because I wanted everything to line up correctly. And then you have air bubbles. And then some walls aren't necessarily straight. Like it's the whole thing.
It's worth
But
a
it came out good.
It's
I'm
amazing.
very proud of it.
It looks, you should be. It looks really good.
Yep,
I'm excited for your new space.
me too.
My mantra of the week, this was from a book I was reading last week. It's called Flawless. I picked it up because the whole 4 book series is on Kindle Unlimited. So I was like, if I can read 4 books basically for free, like sign me up. And the first one, it was actually really funny. I didn't know anything about it when I picked it up. And it's based in Alberta, Canada, which is where Nick is from. And I was like, what are the odds of that? Like, who is
Oh,
in the city that he's from? So it was like, all right. So I really, and oh, the other weird thing. So it was based in Calgary, Alberta, and the main girl character in this book is named Summer Hamilton. Right? Oh, yeah.
that's very strange.
I know. I was like, this is so crazy. So, anyways, the book was very good, and I'm gonna start reading the second one. But the girl in the book kept saying this phrase, like, if this were my last moment on earth, would I go happy? And like different iterations of that. So the one that I pulled was, if this were your last moment on earth, is this what you'd want to be doing, saying, or feeling? And I think you could look at that as being kind of morbid, but I think you can. The way I choose to look at that is like, if you're not doing the way you talk about your PTO and the way you talk about like actually enjoying your time, I think it really sums up this whole theme of this episode is like, if this is your last moment, are you going to be happy with the way it ended? Like spend it with the people you want to spend it with, and like think positive thoughts, like don't dwell on things you can't control, because if that's the final thought you have, like how awful would that be? So that was a really like, it could be morbid, but I really took that as being like a very like uplifting mindset.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. And the correlations between you
I
and Nick's
know,
life very strange.
right?
Very weird. Mine was take your rest as seriously as you take your work. And that's something that I need a lot of because I do burn out very easily. And that is why, because sometimes I strike balance between fun and work, but not rest and work, or like what's actually rejuvenating for me. So that's been just a nice reminder that I've had in the back of my mind the last couple days, weeks.
It's very important, and I think you'll really be able to exercise that this summer, which
Yeah,
I'm excited for.
I do too. All right, guys, you know the drill. Like and subscribe, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you for watching. Oh, and before we go, if you have not yet signed up for our Change Your Life in 100 Days Dream Life Summer Edition, you can do it in the link in our bio. Thank you for watching.